Hello. My name is Leonie and this is the HermitBurpcast, our monthly casual podcast to get myself talking more about arting and life. Today's date is the 20th of February 2015, episode 2, Me and My Hermit Life. Hello, you are a special person. You probably listened to my other 2 episodes and thought, hey, she's a pretty cool dorky derp, I'm going to keep listening. Well, you're all amazingly cool yourselves, and thank you. You are part of our little group now. You're one of us. Mission, air quotes, Talk More 2015 is on. And I want to oh my gosh. And I want to boost you up with me. You and I, we got this. We're gonna keep going for several more months anyway. Hermit derping away. Special thank you for the feedback from Cool Beans, artists Christy Proles and Mark Pongcheck. I am butchering your names. I apologize. I am going to settle for first names now. Especially thank you to them. I have their artwork linked in the show notes, as I'd rather not stuff up saying the URLs, their websites, as I have done so for their names. So go to my show notes and click on their sites, have a look. It's for your convenience as well to just click on, like, it's a link you can click on, and I don't need to say the web address for you because I'm terrible at talking. I'm working on it. Housekeeping. Okay, housekeeping. So I have got proper show notes now. It's official, and anything I link to, or if I have any images I would like to talk about, it's all going to be at the associated blog post show notes from now on. So if I mention anyone and I have a link to them, I'll mention it, or if I have a image I want to talk about, I'll have it there or link there. So show notes, go to the show notes. And in my show notes there's also a summary of what I'm going to talk about to give you an idea whether, do I really want to listen to this now? Yeah, up to you. And one more thing. I got an RSS feed. Oh my gosh. RSS feeds. It's a link where you can manually subscribe to using your favorite RSS feed program. And since I do not know what's happening with iTunes, I might try it again in the future, I don't know. You can manually subscribe using this RSS feed link via iTunes. Just manually copy and paste it in, subscribe. You can just Google it if you don't know how to do it. It's pretty easy. I mean, I learned how to do it, so you can too. Now, I can't say that because I learned IT too. I learned IT before. I can't say that. But if you need help, Google can help you. Google is arguably your friend. A scary friend. Because I haven't really gotten any response in terms of getting it into iTunes. So, just make your own subscription yourself using the RSS feed in the show notes / blog post. Emphasizing on my blog post right now. My RSS feed is in there. Go. Next thing. The frequency of this podcast. I am going to keep practicing this talking thing. You can tell that I'm more relaxed now because I am trying to do it all in one go. Otherwise, I can edit it and redo it and have so many takes that I don't think it will really suck out the life out of me trying to make it perfect. So, since last time, episodes 0 and 1, I don't think I want to do it again at that kind of intensity. So if you don't really like this kind of way of speaking, then listen to other podcasts. I'm not forcing you to listen to me ramble. So be free, go off and do other things. I don't know. I'm just trying to practice talking, and I'm gonna push how long I can talk for this episode. So, obviously, as I'm talking right now, I do not know how long this episode is. So, let's see how long I can talk, because I have been told I don't talk a lot, and it's told to me with a very condescending kind of manner, like, you don't even talk much. What are you? And then I'm thinking, I don't know what to say to you. I'm terrible at small talk. I'm talking to lots of people at one time. I'm trying to practice now and not taking too seriously. So I'm gonna keep it to a monthly rate because monthly feels manageable and right to me. If there are any friends/guests involved in the future, it will be extra episodes on top of the regular monthly ones, or maybe not. I don't know yet. I don't want to say anything I can't keep. I mean what I say, so I don't want to commit myself yet. So I'll worry about guests later in the future when I'm more comfortable with what I'm doing right now. This is just the official episode 2, so woo! Episode 2. And, okay, so as I said before, this is a casual conversation kind of podcast with segments that I'm trying out right now. And there will be a main topic I'll focus on that will be emphasized in the title of the actual episode. This is not a professional, formal podcast, or else I can't keep doing it at a regular basis. It's too much. There are plenty of those filled with much more better wisdom than I have to give, so go there. I am not forcing you again. I do not like forcing people, so do what you like. So this is a casual one. It's less scary and intimidating and more manageable for me. Next thing, this podcast will be PG-13 plus kind of thing, because I will be talking about mature themes, not suitable for little kids. And a disclaimer, everyone I know swears. No, I mean, my bro swears. My family swears. So I don't mind if you enjoy swearing. If that's how you speak, go for it. For me, though, I have chosen not to swear all my life. Like, sometimes I slip up because, I don't know, it just happens sometimes, but no, I don't know. I'm not a swearing person. I have sillier words to use instead. You'll find out. So in a way, in terms of swearing, I'm not really censoring myself how I speak. This is how I speak. I'm an awkward person, so, this is how I speak. PG-13 plus. Not for little kiddies. I might be talking about, things, whatever that means. I mean, originally this podcast was supposed to be heavily planned and short and focused on 1 to 2 topics, but I changed my mind. Because from the beginning, my true goal is to get some talking practice and talk like I usually would. So, hello, this is me, I'm talking weird. I've given presentations and I have taught before, and it would have been better if I practiced talking casually more. I'm talking to myself. No, I'm talking to you. I know you're listening, someone out there. Now I just want to relax and talk away, so there will be some intentional silliness, but it will be maybe when I do invite friends I know in for bonus episodes, maybe very late this year. I hope to make it focused on them instead of myself. I'll mix up a conversational kind of interview and topic focus, just focusing on a topic or issue in terms of dancing or arting or making games or animation, those kinds, because I don't want to make it too awkward and formal and it's like, hey, you're talking to me and sharing your knowledge with us. Now, I do tend to take things seriously. I used to write people are scared of me, but when I'm in work mode especially, because I care. I mean, I wouldn't write so much if I didn't care. And now I'm just like, okay, I'm keeping things concise and focused and all that, because I do not want to waste anyone's time or my own time. Like, if you're not going to value my time, I won't value yours. And I'm going to talk more about that later. This podcast and my blog kind of allows me to relax and be silly and talk about things as I learn to push my verbal communication skills. And not have too much of a fear of being judged, perhaps. I don't know. Usually with people around, I'm more quiet. disclaimer again. My opinions here are my own. I do not admit to know everything, and I might learn something and maybe change my mind. I respect your opinion as long as you respect mine. So don't force your opinion on me and then I'm not trying to force my opinion on you either. Like, if you have your way of you have your way of life and I'll have mine. No one really cares in the long run, because in the end, you only care about your own opinion. It is the brutal truth. Okay, since I'm clearly doing this just so that I get talking more and relax more in public, what do you get out of it? Well, aside from my rambling, like right now, I hope to interact with you. Feel free to send in some questions, suggestions for topics, and answers to my question for today. Ensure that you get them in at least a week before the next release of the show, so I have time to prepare. Usually the third Friday of any month. I let you know if it's not. Usually that way anyway. It's in between two of the bi-weekly that I do every second Friday anyway. Sandwiched somewhere between an empty Friday. Okay, so get your questions and responses or feedback in at least a week before. From there, I'll pick interesting ones, credit you via your chosen name or alias, and if provided, I'll add your website in the show notes, just as a little thank you for interacting. And I will respond to you for the Q&A section towards the end. I don't know what big this segment will be. We might not have much. Think I have much listeners a person, as it's just the beginning as well. But I'm trying things out. And lastly, for housekeeping, in terms of statistics, I admit that they are sometimes useful if you know what you're looking for and if you're not too stubborn. And lastly, for housekeeping, in terms of statistics, I admit they are sometimes useful if you know what you're looking for. I'm not too stubborn about not talking about them anymore because I strive to hide them, because I don't want people to judge me according to statistics, and because I don't want to obsess over them. Because at the start of doing my blog, I was too worried about them, and that is not a good way to, not a good reason to blog at all. No, to blog for yourself. For me, that is. That's my reason, at least. I don't really care about, talking a bit about statistics now. Mind that much anymore. Accepted my fate. But I would like to say, yay! I got anonymous subs to this podcast. I am, surprised. I got 2 unknown YouTube subscribers and 1 RSS feed subscriber. I didn't even really advertise the RSS feed thing yet, and I don't know who this person is. Somehow someone subscribed without me publicizing it yet at the time of me recording this, so how did you find out that this RSS feed exists? I haven't even advertised it yet, so I would like to say thank you, whoever you are, my group of 3 subscribers for this Derpcast. Thank you. I know that 98% of the internet are lurkers anyway, myself included, and I'm fine with that. As long as there's 1 or 2 people to interact with, I think I'm fine. I mean, that's the same with my blog. Sometimes 1, 2 people interact, and that's fine too, because we're busy people. So in terms of, that's the internet. So in terms of this podcast, HermitBurpcast, I know at least there's 3 people vaguely interested in me continuing, so thank you so much. So what happened this one? Oh dear. I'm going to be so embarrassed doing this in one take. Oh well. I don't have time to do it in many takes. Anyway, this month, I finally reviewed my Gunblocks illustration, so yes, see the link of the free demo game in the show notes. I could finally show the promo art I did for Cookie Engine, a German indie game studio. It was pretty fun to do, and I was thrilled that people were trying out the game, so yay! After that, I also did Hungry Birds, a party game. It's also linked as well in the show notes. I'm just gonna say it's linked. I can see that I'm gonna keep saying linked in the show notes, so I'll just say it's linked. You know what I mean. And then I started working on the Game Jam game even more with my jam friends, and the fact that people played this game right after completing the jam was a good feeling, because in my first Game Jam game, no one played it or heard of it, so it was a nice contrast. My first Game Jam game, no one really knew about it, and I actually printed posters for it, and I got extra posters, and I don't know what to do with it. But this year I just made a homemade poster for it. I can't afford that luxury of printing. So we reworked the game more. Hungry Birds Party Game. I'm calling it Hungry Birds Party Game. I might need to change the logo, because there's another game called Hungry Birds. We missed that somehow, but yes, I probably need to look into that. We got some more playtesting done on one mode. It still needs a lot of work. We got quite a lot of feedback, but it will probably be at our own pace since it's a personal team project and it's a free game. At the time of this podcast, I am on one of my social media breaks because I need it. But I was doing a sneaky lurk at Twitter, and the official Global Game Jam Twitter retweeted on the Hungry Birds game, and I'm like, whoa! What do I do with myself? It was a happy surprise. Really grateful, thankful for my team, and pretty encouraged. Okay, the next thing, I'm trying to go back to learning, figuring things out in terms of scheduling and being frugal with everything, and being a turtle. Not sure if I should call it turtle or hermit cave. I'm just gonna change between the two. I mean, I do leave my hermit cave when I have to do live things. It's just not often at all. And another point. Lesson to self. When your brain is terribly exhausted, heavy and tense, like rocks or mountain is resting on your head, and you feel like toppling into bed right on the spot, it's a pretty good sign that you need to go home. I also dropped my tablet, and it's got concrete-induced screen injuries. It hurts because it's money from my savings, and it's what I used to record this Burpcast. So it's like, no, my tablet, no. And an extra little thing I came across. Look at the show notes and you'll see this picture of a Spider-Man ride. There is also a lady pin-up illustration thing. It's meant to be a kid-friendly ride, but I don't know why a pin-up is there, but okay. I do wonder, why is she in a bikini with his eyes as her top? Kind of weird, and obviously directed at her chest, and it's kind of silly and amusing to me. It's like, whoa, is this allowed? Okay. Yeah, and that ends my recap of the month. Leonie talks about games. Okay, this is a new section where I talk about the games I watch and or play. It kind of fleshes out what I list in my regular bi-weekly blog posts. Because what I do is I watch gameplay from Let's Players, and sometimes if I feel like it, I'm able to fit in some gaming sessions, but that's a rare thing. So a compromise is to watch other people play instead, but of course the experience is never the same as actually playing it. So this is a new section where I talk about games usually from a watching point of view, not a playing point of view. So I'm probably going to be more focused on storytelling or anything I find interesting in terms of mechanics that I observe as someone who's just watching. It's gonna be weird because I mean, people don't listen to people who watch other people play games. That's a weird link, because I'm going to talk about what I thought about how other people play games. Okay, so let's start off with Silent Hill 2, the classic. And I think it's amazing. I mean, the first time I watched someone play through it, I really didn't get it that well. I didn't see the underlying themes that well. I read the wiki probably several times before it became memorable, and in total, across 3 years, I've watched it played by 3 different Let's Players, and one of them was a blind playthrough, so I related a lot more to the blind playthrough because I can see how it's meant to be experienced by someone who hasn't played before. It was much better watching someone play who's blind, because the game is meant to be. Because if you watch someone who knows what they're doing and they just do things because they know what they're doing, it's kind of boring unless they actually add interesting commentary on top. That's my opinion. And after watching 3 playthroughs of it, I'm still going through one more. I mean, the third one, not the third one. And I've got a deeper appreciation for this game, because each time I gained another level of its perspective. Many interpretations and meanings. And there's I think there's 5 endings, depending on what you do with your items or how many times you do something. That's pretty interesting. There's mature themes, so obviously this is not for kiddies, not for kids, unless there's some parental guidance you got. I mean, it's really the parents' responsibility to be honest and upfront about these things. And I think the in-water ending feels right, though the dog ending theme song really sticks. My bro keeps humming it. I mean, recently at least, it's getting on my nerves. And the bad voice acting was part of its charm. It's really cool. I find the people there are all kinds of grey. Not a black and white kind of story. Even Laura, what happens to Laura? No one knows. There's so many questions still at the end. It's great. And yeah, it still stands really good even nowadays, compared to all the games nowadays, really realistic and AAA and lots of money thrown at games nowadays. So Silent Hill 2, wow. And I haven't even played it myself because it's not the kind of game I would play though. Probably too creepy for me, but watching it play through, I still get the degree at least of impact from a lot of food for thought. It provides a lot of food for thought. Okay, the next game that I am still playing. It's a short game, but I'm just taking my time. It's called Captain Toad Treasure Tracker for the Wii U, and I still haven't finished playing episodes. It's so delightful with surprises, and just when you think you got it figured out, it just, hey, here's a surprise for you, and it's like, yeah, oh my gosh, I didn't expect that, oh my gosh! That's literally my reaction to the surprises that happens. The thing is, I take turns with my bro, so he plays a stage and then I play a stage, and then we take turns that way, because we like experiencing games together. And so if you got access to a Wii U, you probably don't. Maybe you might, but statistically you probably don't. But if you do have an access, play this. This is just fun. It's not meant to be watched. You just have to play it. Okay, so the third game is Armello. Linked it several times. I've also linked in the show notes as well, just to give, hey, support this game, yay. It's a digital board game and strategy turn-based Game of Thrones, apparently. I have no idea. I haven't played it a lot. I just only played it twice, and I haven't won in any of them because I am terrible at strategy games. I have not grown up to play strategy games. I don't have much board games at home. I hope to play more of it when I have the time to, and I'm too exhausted to do anything else. It's weird because I grew to like it as someone who doesn't normally play strategy games. It's fun even though you're bad at it. Is that weird? I'm bad at it, so I'm not good at mind games, basically. I am not good at it. Okay, so have a look at that if you're interested. It's currently in early access, I believe. It's on Steam as well. There's a lot of good reviews. It's a niche game, so if it's not for you, that's cool as well. Okay, so the fourth game, are we up to number 4? I'm just looking at my dot points. Super Mario RPG. Oh my gosh. I played this ages ago. So watching a let's play of this, pretty nostalgic, because dialogue's pretty humorous. The RPG elements are pretty interesting. I mean, at the beginning it's really hard. At the beginning, I don't know what's going on there. And then once you get the hang of it and you level up even more, it's not that hard anymore. They make it easy for you to, go through the thing as long as you defeat most of the enemies along the way. It's how RPGs are. So, yes, mellow. Oh no, I'm not a frog. That kind of thing. Memories coming back. So I'm watching a let's play of that. And I finished, for the 5th game, I finished watching Life is Strange, episode 1. Someone playing through that. I watched 3 different people play through this game. I mean, this episode. And I'm still kind of annoyed at the friend Chloe. I mean, I know most people like Chloe, but I'm like, no, why did you blame the main character for bringing in the drugs? But that's just me. That's my jerk reaction, just like, no, don't blame me for your drugs, I have nothing to do with this. That's my reaction. There were phrases where you can tell that they're trying a bit too hard with the lingo, but I mean, phrases like, are you cereal? I mean, I say that corny phrase thing to myself, not out loud to people. It's, and there's too much, air quotes, hella for me. I do agree that the dialogue could be better, but the mood and atmosphere, they nailed it, I think. Stylish, oh my gosh, the stylization is pretty neat. I was usually oblivious to drama, and I was always on the edge of any clique as a follower of a given any group. And in later years, I was on my own in the library. So that's my experiences of being a teen, but I can still relate to this game in that there's a vibe that everyone has a secret, there's silly dramas going on that you may or may not know about, the desire to belong to a friendship group, and focusing too much on yourself as you find your own 2 feet in the world. It just reads as a teenage environment. I can't see it as is that what colleges is like? I don't know, it's like a weird. In terms of the mechanics of turning back time, there's less consequences compared to Telltale games. When the player, you get more. When you try a decision, you know more about an option, like the short-term effects at least. And then you can go back if you don't like it and fix your own choice and use what you know based on the short-term effects scene and use it to your advantage. So I think that's pretty neat, because with Telltale you might choose something by accident because you weren't sure about what they meant in their wording, and then you regret the decision because you can't go back. Once you've decided, you can't go back. But this one you can. And even though a lot of the characters are stereotypical, they're quite fleshed out, and I'm keen to see more of the next episode. Okay, so the next game, Darkest Dungeon. The first time I watched it being played through, I fell asleep. I was tired. It's not something you'd watch, it's something you need to play. But it impresses me as a really good game. The art is really good, the zoom-in action shots it's pretty much a strategic game of stress. Because your people get sick, or you get traumatized, or get scared, or you need to nurse and take care of all of your party members, and you need to do what you can. It's not a game I would play, no. But it looks like a really good game for what it does. Okay, so the next game, Gravity Ghost. I'm not sorry for doing this, but here I go. Super Mario Galaxy! I might regret it for doing that, but I don't care. That's what I think of. Whenever I think of Super Mario Galaxy, that's what I think of. Anyway, the Gravity Ghost is an interesting story. Not interesting to watch, actually. It's probably fun to play from what I've seen. It's just 2D Super Mario Galaxy. For me, I just kind of focused on the cutscenes and the key moments in the game, so I found it pretty interesting, a neat game, but for me, it kind of lacks something, but I can't pinpoint what. I'm probably wrong. Okay, another game. Apotheon? Don't know how to say this, but it is a really cool looking ancient Greek pottery art style. Even the background is, it looks like it's on pottery. It's amazing. It's kind of like a hack and slash kind of game where you choose to kill things, blood, and upgrade your equipment as you go for the gods. Like, hey gods, you have turned your back towards us, and now we arise to kill you, or something like that. I wasn't paying too much attention to the story that much because there was a lot of reading, and the person playing it wasn't paying too much attention either for me to actually catch on. So that looks pretty cool. A pretty cool looking game. Another game is Xenoblade Chronicles that I've been watching a lot. It's a very, very long RPG, but it's so good. I grew to like watching this. I don't know why. It's so good. So good in story. Like, you think you know what's going on, like a stereotypical kind of story, and then it just, hey, we're throwing something different in there, and it's like, whoa, I'm interested now, kind of thing. I want to keep watching, basically. The next thing I want to talk about is the Majora's Mask 3DS remake. My bro is playing at the moment. I know the differences, and generally it's needed. Some people complain that, oh, it's too small, blah blah blah, but come on, Majora's Mask, it's remade at last, finally. And I don't know, memories of that game and the wonderful music, just peeking at what my brother's up to, looking at all the different upgrades they have in that game and the improved UI, and wow, just so good, and the moon looks so good, so good, so good. I'm not advertising a soy milk brand, mind you. Amazing. And then there's another thing I'd like to talk about. There's that rumor about having Rayman in Smash 4. My bro was really sad because he started to believe it, but it's a fake. It's a really good fake. Personally, for me, I am really indifferent about Rayman. I haven't played any of the recent Rayman games. The games themselves look amazing in terms of visual art style and graphics and animation and all that. But I've played the old PlayStation 3D Rayman long ago, and I got into it at the time, and then I struggled to complete it 100%. That was what really hindered my experience, because there was a glitch in the game for some reason that prevented me from completing it, and I wasn't happy. That kind of tainted my view on Rayman. Anyway, because I remember correctly, I raged quit. I had enough. I tried so hard to collect all those, like, glowing firefly thingies. I forgot what they're called. I don't care. And I couldn't complete it 100%. I was like, no! Why? It was within my grasp, and it was stolen away because of something I don't know. I was struggling so hard with my bro that we looked up a god even, and we still couldn't seem to get it to work. So why we can't find out why we can't get it 100%. Moving on. And I would like to quickly mention 3 other games. Lisa, unsettling, like Silent Hill 2. Mother 3, heartstrings getting pulled. Phoenix Wright, Justice for All. I used to play this, and all memories are coming back. And also the character Pearly. I'm not saying anything more about it, and that's all I got for Leonie Talks About Games. at our main topic. 10 things I've learned as an art hermit so far. Disclaimer, this is just something I made up. This is not a black and white situation. I am just making this up along the way, so I don't recommend you to do what I do. I'm just talking about things I've learned. That's it. You take this with a pinch of salt, as they call it, and maybe it's interesting to you. But here I go. 10 things I've learned as an art hermit. And mind you, I'm kind of used to the lifestyle as an art hermit because, well, you'll see. First thing, outsider. You are an outsider. Right now, people in my age group are more or less established in their careers. Even most of my art friends, they have partners or they have families and kids, and they have an indisposable income to spend on the little things that I see as like a luxury to me. I just can't relate to much people, at least maybe a lot of people anymore. I don't know. Another thing is that I'm really accustomed to being alone, so it's great to start having a few friends now, and I call myself lucky. Even in the big, wide world of life, they're ahead of me, I think, sometimes, but hey, the grass is greener on the other side, perhaps. I don't know. And as an outsider, I do get called names. Not so much nowadays, but I used to. Not just as an art hermit, but I've been a hermit in general. And names such as shut-in, rude, antisocial, you're such a kid, sheltered kid, or spoiled, or, things like that. And maybe I am still. I don't know, it's up to you to judge. After many years of that, I don't let what those people think of me bother me anymore. I just, why should I care? You're not living you're not living my life, so I've embraced my ways as an outsider now. I'm not bothered to let me start again. I'm not bothered trying to belong anywhere. I'm done. I'm just going to be me. So that's thing number 1. Second thing I've learned as an art hermit, number 2, I call it. Everything needs money. Obvious, right? But you feel the impact of money even more when you're poor. Like, we've all been there when you're poor. Money is important. I feel like I'm back at square one because during my previous career, my teaching career, I used to have money, a reasonable amount. But I didn't spend much on it at the time because I was too busy being burnt out doing my job at the time. But back to the point. Everything needs money, including transport. I have resorted to public transport nowadays. Even when you go out and doing something simple, like shopping or whatever, or even something social, you need money. So I don't really go anywhere unless it's really important or I really want to go. I have to say no to things. I really, really, really do appreciate people inviting me to things, so I actually know, so this is going on. I can't go, but I'm happy that you invited me and you thought of me. So please keep inviting me to things, please. Please. I would like to be in the loop, even though I can't go. I give you my sincere thanks, just in advance. But being frugal has been ingrained in my way of living anyway, though. I mean, that's how I am already. I'm poor from the beginning, so I've been careful with money a lot, anyway, from the start. And I try not to spend too much on things I don't really need. Well, sometimes I do spend too much on things out of fear, but that's another story. Being frugal. It's more important to me now as this career of art making is so unsteady. Any creative field. So if I am out of house, it's because of one reason or another, and I don't need to. And it's a pain not to be able to go and say yes to trying new things. But I need to be realistic about my financial status right now. So, yes, that's one thing. Everything needs money. So, depending on that, you become a hermit even more. Depending on how much money you have, that, for me, it determines how much I can go out. The third thing I learned as an art hermit, social media is similar to real socializing for me. Kinda. I mean, the only difference is it's just another way of communicating. It's similar also because, hey, it's an actual person you're interacting with. But obviously, real socializing, there's a lot more there, including body language. And social media, you cannot have that much of any, you don't really have body language to read the tone of voice and the nuances that are contained in body language. But I'm digressing. In terms of social media and in person, I'm really careful who I give my attention to. Time is valuable for all of us, so even my use of social media has boundaries. So if you hear me not replying to you immediately, it's because, hey, I don't want to be online all the time. I need boundaries. So patience appreciated. So I think, I don't know, was it a few weeks ago? I don't remember. I have been apologizing and giving people a heads up for being elusive online as well. And that heads up that, hey, I'm kind of out of the loop sometimes, so don't assume that I know everything. But to be fair, people know how to reach me through email or private message or direct messages or tagging or whatever, as long as it's respectful and it's not spam and you're not demanding things from me because, hey, I'm a person. I'm just a person. In terms of social media, random Twitter activity is fine as well, but I don't really keep up with my Twitter feed that much either. I maybe check up on a few people, but I'm not too busy with Twitter. So yes, number 3, social media is kind of same to real socializing, and I have boundaries for both. Oh, what a hermit I am. The fourth thing I learned as an art hermit is I don't really connect with people that much because of the fact that I'm a hermit. I do feel bad about this because, hey, everyone's saying, expand your horizons, travel the world. Well, I desire that too someday. It's cool. I mean, in terms of traveling, I have traveled ages ago nowadays. So by default, I'm relying on my blogging activities and this derpcast to alleviate some of the hermitness. So thank you. If you're interacting with me, you're kind of helping, I guess, in that respect. I can't really connect with people in terms of life either because usually they've done more than me and they'll end up talking more about themselves. That's cool too because, hey, I'm learning stuff from you. But what's common sense to them is not common sense to me because I don't know what you're talking about. So I must say that social life does suffer a lot because I don't really have that much experience. But to be fair, it's not that I had a great social life to begin with. I used to be really ashamed and I didn't really want to talk about it, but I've embraced this. It's the truth. Why should I hide this? This is what I am, so I am working on it though. However long it takes, I am working on it. But yes, this is a weird roundabout way to working things out, I guess, this derpcast. Number 6. The 6th thing I learned as an art hermit. Eating out is like an amazing gift from the gods or something. I know that the more I eat out, the more I can afford to eat out, the more food will seem less special. And I will be more skeptical and picky with food. But right now, if I ever, get the chance to eat out, it's amazing. It's wow, I don't really usually eat this. I will cherish this meal. Thank you. Kind of approach to food is, that's my current approach to eating out with food. I Well, so in my show notes, you will see 2 photos of 2 different kinds of coffee. I've ordered my first 2. I've ordered my first coffee, which is the little cup and saucer little espresso. It's so teeny tiny. It's like a tiny little hole that one finger can fit through. It's like you just hold it so you feel dainty holding it when you drink from it. It's like, what is this? Like, I find it fascinating because I don't eat out that much. It's like, whoa, what is this? I ordered this. I must cherish this. That's me. When I actually drink it, it's really bitter. I'm like, what is this? It reminds me of Chinese tea. The tea that you get from Chinese restaurants, I think, except it's coffee. And I attempted to put sugar in it and it didn't work because I put sugar in too late when it's room temperature and not when it's freshly made. See, this is like why I'm a newbie. I don't know how to do these things. So I put the sugar in too late. So all I'm left with after I finish drinking this espresso is this whole little mountain of sugar at the bottom of the cup because it didn't really dissolve that well. It's like, no, I've wasted the sugar. Anyway, and then the second photo there is an iced black coffee, plastic cup. I drink it, and it's just like any bitter instant coffee I've drank before. I still hate coffee. Maybe I'm doing it wrong. Coffee is supposed to be rich in taste in terms of bitterness, right? Sorry, I don't like coffee enthusiasts. I drink it when I need to. It's just, I know it's an acquired taste though. I don't mind it, but then sometimes it gets to me and I'm like, I don't want to drink coffee. Ugh. Not my cup of tea. Ha! Talking about beverages, not my cup of tea. It's not my thing. On the topic of eating out, like when I was talking about, hey, I'm more skeptical and picky with food. Well, I used to love hot chips. Now I'm like, I can only eat them in moderate amounts. Otherwise, I get sick of them really, really fast. I can't have too much of hot chips. A life-changing moment for me because, hey, I enjoy hot chips so much that I always dreamed of eating a lot of them, and now I still like them a lot though, just in moderate amounts. I'm starting to see it in action the more hot chips I eat, so I avoid hot chips sometimes. So that was number 6. Eating out is an amazing gift from the gods when you are a hermit. Number 7. The 7th thing I learned about being an art hermit is the ratio between alone time and social time. I enjoy my alone time so much that when I'm having the rare fun social times, it's conflicting to me because should I have more fun social times? But I usually watch out for my social quota energy levels. I'm not intentionally being antisocial, but when I'm drained so much in terms of social, when I'm socially drained, I zone out more easily and I go quiet. I can't focus. And unless I'm actively doing something, physically doing stuff, or I have some task at hand, I am even more terrible at socializing at this state when I'm really tired and I need some alone time to recover. So that's something I am working on. So that's something something I need to work around. But at the moment, I am incredibly protective of my energy and all that. So by default, I am incredibly protective of my energy, unless I know I will be heard or I have an actual purpose. Little note, noisy places plus my soft voice does not mix well. So that probably includes bars. And anyway, alone time is good. It's cool. It's how most people focus on their work best. In a hermit cave, for me though. I do talk to myself, or maybe I'll bother someone with questions if I need help. So, number 7, the alone time versus social time ratio is very unbalanced, where alone time is towering over the social time. And I have learned to be at peace with this. Number 8. The 8th thing I've learned as an art hermit is that you realize how little possessions you really need to live. I mean, you also learn that when you travel a lot and you become a global nomad and you don't really need to pack that much stuff. So that's one of the ways. Another way is when you're a hermit, given that you're not a hoarder, you know how little things you need, and you just really focus on the most important things to keep you going. That's really how I've been living. I'm not gonna label being a hermit as bad at all, because there's nothing bad with being a hermit. It's just that you realize, hey, I don't really need movies or eating out or parties or loads of outings or that kind of thing that much. They're not a must. There are luxuries though, but it's not a must, like, for me to keep surviving at this point. It would definitely expand my level of interesting, but I'm going to go out when I think that, or when I truly believe that I really should. So it's a really kind of tight balance between should I go or should I not. And I have to say no to a lot of things. I guess in that respect, people appreciate your presence more when you do appear. Because I don't go out much, and when I do, people are like, oh my gosh, hello, you are out in the real world. Or, no, this is just me imagining what they're thinking in their heads, okay? But, wow, you're actually here. I mean, at least that's the reaction I get from relatives. So that's where you realize how little possessions you really need to keep going. Really minimalistic approach. That was number 8. 9. Number 9. The 9th thing I learned as an art hermit, when you do go out, backpacks are awesome. I don't like shoulder bags that much because they keep hitting your body when you walk fast or do stuff, and they get in the way, and you have to keep adjusting it, and I don't know, it annoys me. But backpacks are awesome because I actually bring a lot of stuff, just in case, because I have to bring homemade food, I have to bring water from home with me, I bring umbrella, I bring tissues, I bring sketchbooks, I bring a lot of stuff just in case. I mean, and I actually can't carry a light like many people do, as I can't afford buying things I might need when I'm out. AKA, I can't eat out or buy an umbrella when I need it along the way, because I can't afford to. That's just the extra little luxury there. So that is why I carry my backpack. And as an art hermit, backpacks are awesome. And the last one, number 10, the 10th thing I learned as a hermit. Only do it when you are aware of these many consequences. I am not glorifying the hermit life in any way. Even though hermit is in the title of this whole podcast, I have it there because this is who I am, and I'm trying to accept myself as I am. So I'm not saying, hey, be a hermit like me. No, I'm waving my arms back and forth, telling you, no, don't follow what I'm doing just because I'm doing it. Do it only when you believe that this is who you are and something you don't mind living. I mean, you don't mind living this way. Hermit life is for crazy people who arguably know what they're doing and what they're getting into. For me, I'm used to it, I think. Yeah, I'm used to it, and I'm just struggling to push myself a bit more out there, and that's where I'm struggling, because I realize the differences in the way I live and the way other people live, and how I'm struggling to connect with other people because of it. But that's for me to figure out. This is just my choice, to have a tunnel vision focus on growing as a person in terms of arting and friends, while I'm still being a frugal hermit about it. Working on it, my disclaimer is the 10th thing I've learned as an art hermit is only do it if you know what you're getting into. Don't do it just because I'm doing it. That's not a good reason to do things. Do it because that's you believe in it, and if that's the case, go for it. You are crazy just like me. So in some way or in some shape or form. But then again, you're also crazy for listening to me right now. So, hey there. Anyway, that's it. That's my 10 things about hermit life lessons. And I made it all up, so don't take it too seriously. I do feel incredibly sad and horrible when great people I know are having a great time elsewhere, but you had to say no and you couldn't join in. And the fear of missing out arises, and I do admit that's a reason why I've limited social media use so long ago. Probably since high school. And it's refined. I've kind of refined my boundaries since then. It, changes, it expands, it restricts, it depends on what's going on at the moment. And now it's become a habit. I really don't want to come to a point where I don't get invited to anything anymore, because that has happened to me many times, and then that is the point where I am completely out of the loop and people don't think you'll come to the thing anymore. Completely understand why, but I do feel sad when I find out way after the fact. So the fact that there's still some friends that still invite me to something special, it's a great honor for me, whether I can practically come or not. Because at least you realize I exist, you remember me, and you're also not forcing me to go to anything. If I have to say no again, it's hard, and again, as I said, it's a balance you need to figure out for yourself. Story time with Leonie. Here are the responses I received. Okay, there's no story this month because I want to talk about the responses I got from the last story time. And you can look into it by looking at the show notes. I will link it there as well if you want to get a refresher on the story, or if you haven't heard it before, have a look. So you know what I'm talking about. So I got 2 responses. So I'm really glad and lucky I got 2 people interacted with me. So compared with no one. So thank you so much. So Christy says, I'm just going to read her comment. But to give you an idea, this story is about how my piece of artwork got run over, and I asked people for morals, like what they thought the moral was of the story. What I do with responses or questions or suggestions is that I pick them out, as I said early in this Burpcast, and I'll link them in the show notes. So with the following people, I have linked to their sites as a sign of appreciation for their participation and support. So the first response I got is from Christy, and she says the moral of the story is, I'm just going to read it out. Be able to let go of your work. It's the act of making art that matters most to the artist. Also, don't go running out in front of cars. Smiley winky face. Well, you can tell she's going to be one of my regulars. I'm going to mention her name a lot because she's pretty much one of my good friends. And Squall J, another person I know, he says, could the moral of the story be about the intrinsic destructive effect that the hustle and bustle of our lives has on our mental availability to notice and appreciate art? And about how we, like the people in cars, are destroying it indirectly with our inattentiveness and tunnel vision towards completing the daily grind. Or maybe it's about checking the weather before you decide whether to reach for the glasses or contact lenses today. Wow. First of all, thank you for the responses. For Christie's moral, I do agree with her morals. Pretty cool interpretation. Yes, and don't go running out in front of cars. Yes. That's a funny joke. And for Squall J's interpretation, wow. I do agree with his deep meanings in terms of, hey, we're too busy in ourselves that we don't really look around and appreciate the present. It's an interesting take. I like it a lot. And in terms of checking the weather before you reach for your glasses, well, I couldn't help. I had to go home, right? I'm gonna debate on that question. I'm gonna agree to disagree with that one. It's something I can't help, that one. I was forced to take my piece of art home, and it was home time, and it was windy. I did the best I could, so. But good point with the weather. Let's just blame it on the weather. Yeah, just shake our fists at the weather. Okay, so that's my thoughts on the two morals. Leonie's moral of the story. I need to be honest with you. I had to refrain from adding too much of my subjective feelings to this story because I did not want to bias you, but I'm going to open up about this. So, at the time, piece of artwork, I really hated it at the time. I wanted to throw it away. But a part of me was telling me that, hey, it's your art, so own it. Don't throw it away. Let this be a reminder to you. Or something along those lines. So, at the time, in my heart, I have already distanced myself from the art, and I was just stunned at what was happening when my piece of art got run over. I wasn't even sad that the cars were running over it. I'm like, oh wow, even the cars don't like it. That was what I was thinking. Wow, even the cars don't like it, so I have the right to hate it too. Funnily enough, I still have the said artwork in storage somewhere. I don't know why. I haven't thrown it away, but it's still somewhere. I'm not that attached to it, but I'm kind of embarrassed of it. But here's the point. Here is my moral. Do what you believe in, but if things don't work out like this piece of artwork, try not to take it too seriously or personal and just keep moving on once you know what you did wrong and what you can improve. And this moral, in terms of the message, I've actually talked about this message in the previous Derp Art blog post. It was a different metaphor with magical doors instead, but that is my moral. Do what you believe in and keep moving on after learning your lesson. That's what life is. Leonie's words for the month. This is another new segment where I'm trying to learn new words, and since I don't really read that much books anymore, to my dismay, I'm just gonna try, taking random words and learning them. So, 2 words for the month. The first word, ruminate. It means when you think too deeply. It's a verb. I choose this word because I think too much. You're probably smiling to yourself and nodding, aren't you? Sitting in your chair. You are so right. I am a deep thinker, but I shake my fist at you. Don't be a jerk about it, okay? And talking about jerks, a second word of the month is overweening. Over and weaning. That's one word actually, and the weaning part is spelled as W-E-E-N-I-N-G. And I choose this word because it's interesting. It means arrogant, presumptuous, immoderate, exaggerated. It's a funny word to say, and I'm like, I'll just add this in. I'll just pretend to say to you, and scold you and just shake my finger at you. I don't know, I'm bad at this. But don't be an overweening jerk and make fun of me for thinking too much. So, words for the month is ruminate and overweening. Q&A, 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 Q&A. Okay, I just started this Q&A segment, so I don't have any questions, but I want questions. I am requesting questions. Now, I will credit you, and if you choose to, I will link your website in the show notes if I happen to pick yours. You can even ask what I think about things that you're curious about, even random questions, like, "Hey Leonie, what do you think about the 50 Shades of Grey movie?" Or, "Hey Leonie, what languages do you speak?" I don't know, I'm just making up silly questions. Just note that I have the right to ignore any questions that are too personal and I'm not comfortable in answering. Are we cool with that? So email your questions or responses or suggestions at HermitBurpcast@gmail.com. HermitBurpcast@gmail.com. You can also see the email at the show notes as well. If you just would like to copy and paste the email, it's also over there as well. Or you can actually comment on the blog post as well, if you want people to see what you write, if you don't mind. Oh, just note that in terms of any responses or questions for the Derpcast, I won't be replying to you in words anymore, because I find that I'm doubling up when I reply to you in words, and then I'm going to reply to you verbally in the next episode. So I'm going to stick to verbally. So I do read all of your comments, but I will respond via verbal means. I'll probably give a general response to all of them, and maybe pick out a few people for their specific responses. So that's what I'm going to try out, because I don't think I can reply to each and every one of you in words as well on top. So again, comment on the blog post below or email your questions/suggestions through HermitBurpcast@gmail.com, and we can keep it all in one place, either through the email or through the blog posts. If you've reached this far, you are amazing. Please let me know what you think of this new format I'm trying out. Am I too silly? Am I too off track? Am I rambling too much? Note that this is going to be a really, really, really rambly podcast. I'm warning you from the beginning. A lot of rambling. If you're seeking something focused, please go the other way. But given that you've listened to the end, it means you don't mind it. Or at least you don't mind it enough to leave and stop listening. So thank you. Thank you for supporting me. I'm just trying to talk more, so you give me feedback on how I'm running this. I'm still learning. Just thank you for your support. It's kind of funny how I am happy to make a fool of myself. I'm happy to make a fool of myself publicly, but not when I'm in person. Because, hey, people I know are present. I don't know what to say. Because the likelihood of me saying something interesting is not much. Well, that's my perception of myself. And it's something I need to change. I know. And so, this is episode 2 of the HermitBurpcast. Thank you for listening and make today an awesome one. See you next time. Hello, this is an extra to pick at the end. So you're probably one of the few people who actually kept listening. So this is all those people who are confused how I am so talkative right now, especially at this podcast. Well, it's because I have reserved energy for the podcast, which is why I have so much energy in this podcast. I am usually not this energetic, and you now know why I'm so weird. This is a demonstration. I don't try to exaggerate anything of myself. Maybe a little bit here and there, but because it's obvious if I am trying too hard, probably you can tell. I'm usually acting as I am, as if I was just having fun, living in the moment, and not taking things seriously. Now, if you were confused, it's unfortunate because you usually see my taking things too seriously side. And that's usually because a combination of some of these reasons. It's because usually the situation does not call for casual, relaxed conversation, or I am honestly not silly all the time. I'm usually a neutral disposition. So if I am silly, it's just because I have enough energy for it. I'm not brain dead or zoned out, I'm just living the moment. So if I ever do start off being silly, if another reason is that if I do start off being silly, but another person isn't returning the same vibe back, I revert back to quiet mode. Quiet mode is my default mode. Or another reason is that I haven't warmed up to a person, and maybe I might never will. It happens to everyone. You might not warm up to everyone. Or maybe that's just me. I'm not that, hey, I'm warm to everybody kind of person, unfortunately. And lastly, another possible reason is that there are too many people at present to focus on if this is on person, or sometimes social media as well. Even my brother was first taken aback because I'm so silly, smiley and friendly when I first meet people, because he is so used to me being neutral and blunt, but I'm not quite with him. I talk a lot with this. My point is that this silliness you witness here is a rare phenomenon. That it would be likely to happen if I was with a small company and my blog and this podcast here, because I am essentially talking to myself. I'm not pretending to be two people, so don't get so confused that, whoa, is she pretending to be two people? No. Both approaches of mine are who I am. It's kind of that universal fight between being an adult, air quotes, and being a child. You listen all the way to the end, so thank you, and I hope your February has been awesome. And as you know, it is Lunar/Chinese New Year, and I have blaring Chinese New Year music in the background right now, and oh no. Anyway, enjoy your Chinese New Year or Lunar New Year if you celebrate it. And there are 2 weeks from now for you to input your questions, answers, jokes, whatever you like, so that I can organize them and actually prepare for the next direct cast. So thank you for staying all the way back. I hope you enjoy this. Please let me know the feedback. I'm a newbie, but enjoy. Thank you.